One of the most important things happening in history lately is the Trump administration's escalating campaign against the Smithsonian Institution to control how they share the nation's story. I'm historian John Marks. Let me break it down for you. Last year, the Trump administration issued an executive order titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. It called for increased scrutiny on the Smithsonian Institution and other federal museums to ensure that they were not sharing history that, in the administration's view, inappropriately disparaged famous Americans or shared an improper ideology. In short, the order tried to make sure that the Smithsonian only shared history that celebrated America and its heroes and avoided anything shameful or difficult from the nation's past. Ever since, the White House has engaged in a campaign to pressure the Smithsonian into submission. Last May, Trump used social media to claim that he was firing the director of the National Portrait Gallery. Among other grievances, Trump complained that the exhibit label under his photo in the gallery noted correctly that he had been impeached 2 times. Now, according to a new report from the New York Times, Trump's portrait has been replaced with a new photograph, and along with it, the text noting his impeachments has been removed. Last year, the National Museum of American History also removed text noting Trump's impeachment and involvement in the January 6 riots at the Capitol, which drew the administration's ire. Now, these changes come amid a much broader campaign to pressure the Smithsonian into complying with that 2025 executive order. The White House has demanded extensive internal records from Smithsonian museums, wall text, exhibit plans, budgets, even programming related to the upcoming 250th anniversary, and they've warned that a failure to comply could jeopardize the Smithsonian's funding. This request is enormous. It would require tens of thousands of hours. It would be thousands and thousands of pages. And that's because the Smithsonian isn't just a regular museum or a regular federal agency. It's the world's largest museum complex. It comprises more than a dozen individual museums, research centers, and more. It employs thousands of people, and it does a wide range of different types of programs. Now, it's also important to remember that the Smithsonian is governed by an independent board, not by a single federal agency, though it does receive the majority of its funding from Congress. This arrangement makes direct political control over the Smithsonian more difficult than it might seem, but the White House can still exert a lot of pressure on the institution, and that's exactly what they are trying to do. Now, we'll see in the coming weeks how the Smithsonian satisfies this demand from the White House or how they manage to push back. But in the end, this isn't about just one portrait, one president, or one museum. This is about whether one of the preeminent cultural institutions in the world can retain its independence and remain a place for honest, evidence-based history.